What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Homie Hangout, where we help others move in excellence. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation, man. We've been trying to make it happen for a few days now, and here it is. So I'll let him introduce himself, and we'll get into it.
Yo, what's up, everybody? My name's Buzz. I'm from the east side of Stockton, and it's good to sit down and chop it up, man.
Yeah, and you got a channel.
Yes, sir. Yard Recall with Buzz. Check me out. Just went over 1,000. Trying
Congrats.
to keep climbing.
Yeah, congratulations. So you mentioned being from the east side of Stockton. You kind of walk us through whatever you care to share about what it was like sort of coming up.
It's it's like any ghetto ass neighborhood, but it's majority it's whites and Mexicans, Northerners, and then I mean obviously you got like Pisces, but they're not a group like in prison on the street, but it's mostly like Northerners and white boys, man. And my neighborhood, we're pretty tight with the homies, you know. Like I got I'm not from no gang, but I'm from a neighborhood, you know, it's Genoni Park, and there's white boys that rep it, and then there's Northerners, but it's not like a gang, a set or anything like that. So people, you know, it gets confusing sometimes. People that ain't from around here, they kind of like, oh, you're from a Northern gang, or sometimes they tell some of the homies like, oh, you're from a white boy crew, but anybody from the north knows, you know, it's a little different up here.
Right. So what, like, kind of personally, what was it like for you growing up? So obviously you live in like you said, in the hood, in a little low income spot. What else?
It was cool, man. Like I had both my parents. They tried to fucking keep me on the right track. I finished school and all that, you know, like I was always in trouble fucking in school, getting kicked out of every school I've been to, continuations, all that. But I did end up graduating. And then after high school, that's when I just fucking started going hard in the paint, hustling, you know, just carrying guns, shit like that. And in Stockton, man, it's almost like it sucks to say it, but it's like you have to have a gun, like, because nobody's gonna fight. You know, nobody wants to fight, or you're gonna get jumped or robbed. So it's like you almost, even like today, I don't even like going to Stockton. Like I don't live in Stockton no more, but I'm still in Stockton often, and with my kids. And even then, like I'm a felon, but I still don't want to go out there without something. You know what I mean? It ain't a joke out there for sure. But yeah, I didn't have like a hard time. No one really fucked me. I always had like I was always had a good circle of homies, and I was always a little dude, but I was always with the business. You know what I mean? Like people test you no matter what. You know, I got in fights a lot. I'm not saying like I got my ass whooped plenty of times, but never no punk about it. You know?
Yeah, no, I can relate to that. Right? You don't win them all, right?
No.
But you don't turn any down. Right, and that's why you don't win them all, right?
Yep. But after a couple of times, people are gonna know, like, oh, he's gonna fight, you know.
Right.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
No matter if you can fight, even if you can't fight, if you're gonna fight, it's gonna make people think twice about trying to punk you or trying to check you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Same thing in prison, bro. Same shit in prison to an extent. Like most, like on the GP yards, you know, like nobody really is gonna try to punk you or nothing, but they'll try to test you.
Sure. Yeah, and speaking of prison, so did you go to juvenile hall or YA or any of that stuff, or you just jumped to the
Never, bro. I was lucky. I was doing fucking all kinds of shit. I just got lucky, bro. And then when I did catch me, I didn't think it was that serious. Honestly, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get out, you know, like bail out, fucking get a couple months or something. And then they put me on they had me for aggravated mayhem, which so they gave me no bail because they said that carried life sentence. And sold deadly weapon or great bodily injury, and they offered me like 12 years. And I was like, oh shit, maybe I'm gonna be hanging out for a minute.
Hey, maybe I'm in trouble.
Yeah, I was like, fuck. Because at first I was like, I don't need a lawyer. I was like, I'm not gonna waste my money. I was like, this is some, because I smacked a dude. I don't know if you've seen my story about it, but I hit a dude in the head with a fucking like a softball sized rock. Fucked him up. He had to get a metal plate. And at the time though, I didn't know how serious it was until I started going to court, and they started giving me all the paperwork. And I was like, oh shit, like I hurt the dude pretty bad. And fought that shit for about a year in the county. And that's my first time. I've been like booked in the county jail, but that was my first time getting booked. I mean, I've been booked and released. That was my first time going into the jail, into the intake. and first experience, you know, and then fucking sat there for a year fighting that, and ended up taking 4 years with 85. That was my first term.
Okay. Yeah, so still not as bad as the 12, but
no, hell yeah, it
but
took me a minute. That's
right.
But when they first offered me that deal, I'm like, damn, maybe I need a lawyer, you know. So I hired a lawyer, and
Right.
he did his thing. Got it from like 12 to 8 to 5. I said no in the 5. He's like, what the hell? He's like, I thought we had, you know, you planned on going to prison. I was like, I did, but not for fucking 5 years. So I was like,
Right.
he's like, all right, and you got the 4, and I said no to that. He's like, man, he's like, if you don't take it, they want to go start trial on Monday. And this was on
Right.
Friday. I was like, fuck. I was like, I had to take it only because I
Yeah.
had the aggravated mayhem, bro. And then if I would have lost trial, they would have did me in with
Right.
just because that charge. So 4 years, but I had a year in, so I was like, fuck it. Only got a few more to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hit DVI. That was a trip for sure.
Well, so how old were you when that was happening?
I turned 21 in DVI. My
Okay.
fucking 21st birthday, man, in fucking 3rd tier, dying in the heat.
Yeah, so we're similar ages when we went in. Right. I caught my case at 19. But you know, right around the same age. What well, I guess to rewind a second. So when you're in the county, I've never been in San Joaquin County Jail. When you're in the county, is it like other places where the pods are divided up by group segment, or is it just for everybody, or how do they do that?
There's like 6 pods of what? I'm trying to remember how many cells are in there. 1 through maybe there's like 100 cells, I want to say, and they're all single cell. But no, the only people they segregate as far as GP side is the Southsiders. They don't put them with they got a whole pod, all Southsiders. They don't like they don't just split them up from Northerners. They put them just by themselves. So the pod has like all the Northerners, blacks, whites, other, you know, everybody but the Southsiders.
Got you. And so, and like I say, you know, Northerners from the streets, right?
Yep.
So when you go into county, what is that like? Like, do you got Northerners that's like, oh man, what's up? I know you, and then Woods like, oh man, I know you, or how'd that unfold?
It was all good in the county. I mean, they politic, but not like prison. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I would chill with the homies. I was allowed to go. Everybody, like there's a Northerner TV, white TV, black TV, Asian TV. Like say the white boys are watching something I don't want to watch, or a football game I don't want to watch. The Northerners are watching the Raider game. We can go, but hey, can I come chill with you guys? Obviously, that's not gonna fucking happen in prison.
Right.
But in the county jail, but hey, can I watch the game with you guys? Like, yeah, come on. You know, like it's way more like love than like as far as like you're not worried about getting stabbed or not. You know, like it's a fucking 180, bro. Like compared to prison, I already knew. Like I knew I was on my way to prison, so I already knew what time it was. So I learned, you know, I got laced up by everybody. But in county, like I said, if the Northerners wanted to come to our area and watch TV, like all you do, hey, bro, can I come sit with you guys and watch TV? So it was like it's a fucking complete opposite. And we're allowed to play like, I don't know now, it's been fucking 10 years, but like pinochle and shit, you can hop in a pinochle game with the Northerners, with the blacks. We couldn't eat with them, couldn't drink with them, but we can fucking do everything else. Like handball, we were playing with the Northerners, or if I wanted to hop in there, workout with them, like I could go work out with them. It's a trip. Yeah. Especially like my first time, I was like, I didn't know any better. I'm like, oh, but a couple people would come in on some high power shit, like, oh yeah, we don't do that shit in prison, you know, like, but we still were allowed to, but he's like, some people wouldn't, just because they're like, oh, we're gonna go to prison, bro, and they're gonna frown. But it never was an issue for anybody, you know, like it's different politics, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that's true. You make a good point. From what I've heard, that's true for a lot of county jails, right? To some degree. I mean, some more maybe serious than others, but the politics in the county tend to be more relaxed because you're generally with folks, you know, if you've been running around in the streets, no matter who you are, where you've been at, you're generally going to run across people in there that you know and that know you. And so it's and a lot of times those don't fall on these strict racial lines or these strict group segment lines. It's just sort of like you said, man, we live together. And so, but yeah, that I would imagine that doesn't get you well prepared. That situation doesn't get you prepared for prison. So what's it like coming up through Tracy?
My first time, bro, I didn't even nothing. I was on lockdown the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Didn't even see the yard. I didn't see the yard in DVI until my second term because so this was in 2008. In C Wing, they had, before I got there, they had non-active Norners on like a GP. Everybody else is GP, but the Norners were dropouts.
Okay.
So I guess some shit happened. They got some kites from K Wing, because at K Wing they have everybody, you know, all about that time validated AB. Everybody was shooting kites to the white boys in there, like, hey, we can't program with these dudes. They're basically like programming with PC to get off on them. So right before I got there, a group of Woods got off on the dropouts, and they moved all of them to a whole nother building, but they still kept us slammed. So my first, like, I was there for like 6 weeks and never even seen New York. So I didn't get like that full DVI experience. I got the fucking nasty ass water and the windows, breaking windows and shit like that, but never didn't get to see much besides my cellies.
Yeah, I never been to Tracy, but that's some of the stuff I've heard is the water and the broken windows, right? And just the dirt.
The water is foul, bro. Like I got used to it obviously after the first couple weeks, because you know you get the little Kool-Aid packets in your lunch, but you only could get so many of those. I literally was like plugging my nose and chugging. It's so fucking hot though. It's like you have to drink something, you know. But I'll literally be plugging my nose just to, or use a stinger and cook it and let it sit and drink it later. Yeah, it was foul, bro.
Yeah, that's I came through Quentin. Quentin had its issues, but that wasn't one of them. How was it? So I know for me coming into Quentin, you know, it's this fucking castle of a prison, right? And I'm a kid, right? And I'm in a paper jumpsuit coming out of county jail, and I got a little paper bag with my handful of little shit that I have with me, right? And it was a little I wouldn't say scary, at least for me, it was more kind of like awe-inspiring. And walking in there in the 5 tiers and everything, you're like, fuck, bro, this is it. Like, this is pretty, just grown-ass dudes and there's fishing lines and yelling and loud and shit. And I was just like, boy, this is prison. I was a little excited because I kind of always planned to go to prison. But how was that for you going into Tracy? Was there something like just the aura or whatever?
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. Honestly, bro, I was ready to go. I wanted to get my time started, because I hear everybody's telling me like, bro, prison's better than jail. You're gonna eat better, you know, like the visit. I was tired of seeing my family behind glass. I'm like, I get to hug my mom, you know, like, so I was ready. I was excited, not like excited, you know, but like I was excited to get my fucking little journey started and get my program started. I mean, of course, the nerves, but I was already prepared, you know, like I was laced up by a lot of people. I did 13 months in the county fighting it. So I was already prepared. But you still, I know what you mean. Like those butterflies, it still was there. But it really, I was like, someone else I was watching somebody like, man, you always think like, oh man, jail is going to be crazy. And then you get there like, oh, this ain't shit. Same thing like in prison, you're like going to be like, oh man, I'm going to prison. It's going to see people get fucked up and stabbed. I mean, you do see that shit, but once you get there, it's like, it really ain't nothing, you know. I've never been on a level 4, but I'm sure that's a little more. Obviously, it's a little more serious, but at the same time, I'm sure it's probably the same thing. If you mind, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get to the point. You're right. Where prison's prison, right? And yeah, I just remember for me, it was more just kind of like, man, you ain't in Kansas anymore, Toto, right? Like this, okay. And like I said, it wasn't a fear thing. There was a level of excitement. I had a fairly decent stretch, right? So I was like, this is home, you know? But yeah, that's, I think it's a trip when you come in young and your first time, you know? So Tracy, you don't really get to do nothing and just kind of sit there in your cell. And then you get out, obviously. And how did things go from there?
Well, I went from Tracy to the main line.
Oh, did you go to the main line on that term?
Yeah, I did. I ended up doing the whole 4 year. I just never seen nothing in Tracy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I went from Tracy. They sent me to Susanville, well, CCC, whatever. Right. I always, someone was like, "Hey, bro, you got to be more." When you say Susanville, you got to. I'm like, man, everybody I know calls High Desert, and Susanville. I know they're across street from each other, but if I hear Susanville, I think of Susanville, Lassen Yard, you know, and High Desert. But someone was fucking talking shit on my comments. I'm like, man, anybody that's been there, that when you say Susanville, they know what you're talking about. So I started in Susanville. I only had like 25 points, right? So I started level 2, But I went to my first committee and the captain was like, "Oh nah, we're gonna jack your points up. You're a gang member." So they added 6 points, and it because someone yelled out East Side or something in my police report. He's like, "Oh no, you're a gang member." I was like, "What the fuck gang member am I?" He's like, "You're an East Side gang member." He's like, "I think you're a Northerner." And I was like, "Oh, here we go." He's like, "Yeah," and I laughed. I literally laughed. And he's like, "Oh, you think it's funny?" And I was like, "Yeah, a little bit." He's like, "Oh, we'll see who's laughing when you go up there to Laughing Yard and the structure hits you up and sees you're a Northerner trying to ride white." I was just like, "Oh my god!" Like he thought he was gonna fucking pump some fear,
Right.
Like like I said, I already been around, like
Right.
I wasn't worried about it, obviously. So I was on that yard for like only 2 weeks. You first see your committee like within the first 10 days or whatever it is. They shipped my ass to Lassen and the level 3, and then honestly, it was way better. Like my homeboy Lace Smith is like, "Hey bro," he's like, "You're gonna like it better." He's like, "Just be careful. It is a little more dangerous. You could get hurt." But I never put myself in those positions. Like I was always in the mix as far as like with the big homeboys. Like I always knew what was going on. Like I was always fucked with everybody, but I never got like deep into any bullshit. I wasn't into drugs, so I didn't have to worry about shit like that. I didn't gamble. You know what I mean? So I knew.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was laced up good and prepared to get in, do my time, and get out.
Right.
Did a couple removals. You know what I mean? Nothing serious. And I didn't have much time to max out doing forward 85. I only had a few months of good time, so I ended up doing the whole 4 years and fucking paroled from Solano. I was in Arizona for a year and a half, and then paroled from Solano, and then I was out like 6 months. Fucking caught another case.
Wait a minute. So then you went from Susanville to Arizona?
Yep, I did about a year and a half out there in Arizona. Gave me like a committee paper, basically like an annual, but it wasn't my annual, and shipped my ass out of state.
Man, so what was that like?
It was actually, bro, that was the best time I did. Fucking sales are humongous. Like I don't know if you ever like seen anything about the sale or heard about them, but the sales are fucking like literally. We'd have four of us in there playing the video games and like comfortably, like 4 people in a cell. The cells are like literally like, and the instead of going like the beds this way, the beds are on the back wall, so it's like even more open.
Wow.
It's probably like 10 by 10, bro, at least. Maybe not 10 feet wide, because the bed takes up the whole. It's basically the length of the bed.
Right.
So 6.5, 7 feet.
Yeah.
Because we put our TVs at the table at the end of our bed. There was like a little spot for the TVs and an outlet. So you'd be laying on your bed looking right at the TV. If you had 2 TVs, if not, you put it on the one down. Just cable TV. We had like 40 channels, bro. ESPN. Wow. I was fucking, because I'm a sports fanatic. Right. So when I got out there, we started turning the channels. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, ESPN, bro, fucking Fox Sports, TNT, like Spike TV at that time. We had Spike TV still. Like, it was fucking, that was nice. And then you could, at that time, you can still get like, they were letting you get packages. Remember like East Bay, the magazine? Yeah. You can order shit from East Bay. Like people were rocking Jordans, bro, fucking Nike sweats. As long as they were like white or black or gray. Okay. They started cracking down on that shit towards the end. But when I first got there, bro, motherfuckers are wearing Jordans and Nikes, and the canteen kind of was shitty, like as far as like the quality of shit they had on there. But they had real sugar on there, like not real sugar, but like candy and Jolly Ranchers and Fireballs and root beer barrels. So everybody was going up with Pruno.
I seen that. Yeah, I seen you do that video about the Pruno. And that's what you're talking about, like Fireballs and Jelly Ranchers and stuff. And I was like, Fireball candy. And
full bottles of jelly, and that's like all sugar. So we were going up with Pruno all the time. And the COs, man, they're not like a Kier at all. They're basically a fucking security guard off the streets. So they would bring shit in, phones everywhere, dope everywhere. Like if you wanted to get high, bro, you can easily get high. Like I just played video games all day and fucking, you're in the day room pretty much. It's like my county jail. You're in the day room from the morning, like maybe 8 o'clock, they pop all the cells, and then you're out all day. Like you go to the yard, but the yard is super small. Like they don't have like a California yard. They have like weights out there though, little weight machines. They had one for for Southsiders in Woods, and they had one for the blacks. The Northerners, they had them all segregated out there. All the Northerners were all in their own building.
Oh, so kind of like
they try to have them out, and some shit cracked off with the Southsiders and Northerners. So they're like, fuck, they weren't prepared, dude. Some people got hurt. It was before I got there, but a couple people got hurt real bad because they weren't prepared for that type of shit. Right. They're not trained, you know, like, and there's no gunner tower. They're out there in the little catwalk with their little fucking like a, not even a gun though, but they have like a block gun or like a pepper fucking ball gun. So like they walk around with paintball guns with pepper balls and shit. Right. Like that ain't doing shit. Right. If someone's getting stabbed, that shit ain't doing nothing. You know, you don't gotta worry about getting shot by a fucking mini 14 while you're stabbing someone. You're just gonna get hit with some fucking pepper balls. Right. But for the most part, man, there nothing cracked off besides removals, because who the hell wants to go to the hole when you're fucking watching cable TV and playing PlayStation and fucking phones galore? Like, right. We ran that prison for sure. Like, not the Woods, like inmates.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. I've heard from folks that have done time out of state, from, you know, but are from California, that when they go to other states, it's just not as sophisticated as the California system. They're like, man, if you can do time in California and navigate in California, then you go to another state and you know, not to put other states down or say that they don't got, you know, riders and hitters and all that other stuff, but they're just not that sophisticated.
See, but with us, it's all California. It's basically a California prison. It's private prison, so it's only California inmates.
Oh, okay.
We didn't program with Arizona inmates. It was a private facility, and it's all California. So same shit, politics. Everybody was from California, unless they were like had caught their case somewhere. But you know, but we all came from California prisons to another, basically a California prison in Arizona, but they weren't, the COs and shit weren't up to, like, they started cracking down. They started having like a CDC captain out there. Okay. Like he was the only one that had like the greens on. You know, everybody else was just like a fucking free staff. It was a joke. Right. But that was like the best time for sure.
Sounds like it. Yeah. Yeah.
The fucking building I was in though, we only had 2 white cells, bro. So if it ever would have cracked off, we would have got fucking, we would have got fucked off for sure. I'm glad it was all chill and everybody was cool. You know, everybody was super close. Like all the races were tight, just because the building was only like a 60-man buildings, I believe. So, you know, you get tight with everybody when there's only 60 of you in there.
Right. Yeah, and especially folks not going out to the yard too much and stuff. You know, you're all right there. I was going to ask about the Southerner, white, black kind of Northern division, but now it makes sense if everybody's come from California, they're going to keep that same.
Yeah, it was the same. You know, they had black table. It was a long day room, so you couldn't split it like in half. So we just each had a couple tables, you know, like it was basically all one. But it was like I was saying in the county, like the black dudes would come up to our, the politics were way like more lean. Like they would come up to our tables. If you're on a yard, you know, the white in California, the blacks aren't going to come up in your area like that. Like they might come close and like, hey bro, like let me holler, and you walk over there, but they come up to our table like, oh, what you guys doing? You know, like everybody was tight. Yeah. And the politics weren't as, I mean, you still had politics, you know, like, there was still drama and fucking always on your toes, but it was the most laid back fucking chill time I did. I was a year and a half, so it was cool. And then they sent me back. I had about 90 days left. And they sent me to Solano to parole, which was cool. I was on the level 3 right there. Solano was cool. I was only there, like I said, 90 days, 100 days.
Man, that's great. The only time I ever heard of video games in a California prison was when I was in Salinas Valley and I was in the hole. You're going back a ways. This is when PlayStations were popping. And and my neighbor got at me because we used to get a bunch of newspapers, right? We got the Californian from Salinas. We got papers from all over. And he was like, hey man, do your newspapers have ads in them? And I was like, yeah. But that wasn't something we would look at, you know, like that's just extra paper. You know what I mean? You do other stuff with it, but you don't read the ads. And he's like, man, do they, you know, can you look, are they selling PlayStation games on there? Do they have PlayStation games? And I'm like, I looked, I was like, yeah, seems like it. I didn't even know what a PlayStation was. And he's like, hey man, can you shoot it to me? I'm trying to get some new games. And I'm thinking like, oh, this fool's a J-Cat. Like he hasn't seemed like a J-Cat, but he suddenly seems like a J-Cat. And so So I get at him on paper, right? He was a black dude. I get at him on paper, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I got a PlayStation over here." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, bro." And I knew there was, there was a couple COs there that, that brought stuff in, and shit, I thought I had to hook up because I got my tobacco out of my property. Back then, you could still smoke in prison, but you couldn't smoke in the hole. And she came and gave me my tobacco out of my property, and I thought that was the plug. You know what I mean? But this fucking dude at Game Boy, I was like, "Oh, this shit." But yeah, that sounds like good time right there.
Yeah, it was, like I said, and the COs were chill. Like, they didn't
Right.
really fuck with us. They weren't even in the building. They would come do like 30-minute unlocks. No
Okay.
gunner in the building. You could get, if something ever goes, like, I heard of people getting fucked up out there because if you do a removal in the day room, bro, they might not even catch it. But you could
Right.
fucking kill somebody. I've seen some dudes get beat down. Like I said, nothing racial happened out there while I was there, like in between different races. But I've seen some fucking vicious removals because they'll have to be paying attention at the camp, because there's like a little rotunda in the middle, and with the 3 buildings, and there's hella cameras. But if they're not paying attention, bro, you can fucking fuck someone off in the removal.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you go to Solano, kind of cruise through that time, and come home, and then how's that go?
I didn't learn shit, bro. Honestly, came back straight knucklehead. I felt like it was I came out worse. Like, I was more gamed up, like on shit. So I was like, I feel like I didn't learn my lesson. So then I caught my second case like 6 months later, and then I thought I was done because I had took 4 years with a strike, and I caught another violent felony. I was like, damn, they're gonna crack me on this one,
Right.
And I had a little bit of action on it because I had some people that were witnesses saying that it wasn't me, or like,
Right.
so they ended up cutting me a good ass deal for only 2 years, and I fucking hopped on that quick. I already took a year violation, so I was like, fuck it, what's two years?
Right.
And then after that time, that's when I was like, all right, I'm cool. I need to chill.
Yeah.
Fucking came home, had some kids, bro. Fucking got married.
Okay.
Bought a house. It's been, like I said, I've been out over 10 years. I think it'll be 10 years almost since I got out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you've been out a while then. That's I was under the impression you've been out a few years, but not quite that long.
I'll be 35, man, in July, and I got out in August of 2012. So August will be the end of August. It'll be 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
And that little 2 years you did, that was uneventful, huh? You just kind of hopped in and hopped out at that point.
Yeah, yeah. Well, most of my time, it was crazy though, because the victim in my case, his dad was a correctional officer in DVI, and I didn't know it at the time until I went to jail, and my cousin told me they rolled my ass up from DVI and shot me to K-Wing, and then transferred me like quick. They said for my safety and the safety, so they transferred me to High Desert, and I did my reception there, and then end up dropping points in High Desert, and I finished. That's the bulk of my time. The most, like, besides those 2 weeks on the level 2 when I started, I did like 6 months on the yard, on the level 2 yard, which was a trip, a lot different.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, it was nothing. Just did a few months, went home.
Right. So so how was it? I know it sounds like you didn't have to deal with the whole lot of the racial politics then while you were in there necessarily, huh?
Susanville a little bit. A lot of skinheads on the yard, and they kind of like I was saying, like, our swag up north is a little different. You know what I mean? Like, they would hate on us a little bit from up north, because there's not a lot of skinheads from up north. Like, I don't know about like where you're at. I don't really know. Never even seen a skinhead until I went to prison. I never even heard of them. Honestly, like, I knew what they were, like, but I never knew their get down. I like movies and shit, but I never had met a skinhead.
Skinheads went riding through the hood in
Sacramento. There's some in Sacramento, but like I said, me personally, I never even seen a skinhead. So they would hate on us a little bit just because, like I said, I listen to rap music, bro, in my cell, and I didn't care. I wasn't following the rules. But there was nothing, no drama, but a little bit of hate towards our way, from because, like I said, up north we just got a little different swag.
Right. Yeah. Did you ever run across or say I would imagine like I'm from the Bay Area, so same thing. You don't hear about skinheads in the Bay Area, right?
Yeah.
And apparently there's some skinheads that are like really anti-racist. I'm gonna get one of those on the channel pretty soon. But
Honestly, they're that's what I try to tell people. If you read their little 14 laws and 88 precepts,
mhm,
it's not. It doesn't that can go for any race. They're about like a pure race, but nothing is like racist towards other people. Like I'm not like vouching for them or anything
right,
like
right,
that. But if you do read their shit, because I had a skinhead Selly and he was
mm,
hella cool. They're not supposed to ever do drugs, which is most of them are all strung out. But a
right,
real righteous skinhead, they actually do have good politics.
mhm,
And their little 14 laws and 88 precept shit can go for any race. It's just about like a
right,
pure race,
yeah,
but
yeah.
not
They
like hate.
yeah, it's a trip of a group. It's I don't necessarily know a lot, about
Yeah,
them. But yeah, you don't see them riding around the Bay, and I wouldn't expect that you would see, a whole lot of skinheads, riding around in Stockton trying to
yeah,
stir up stuff, right? Um, I I ran across I never ran across any skinheads from Northern California that I know of.
yeah.
Like in prison, I would see some skinheads. I don't know exactly where all of them were from, but
Most Orange County and
yeah,
San Diego, they're fucking super deep. But
that's what it
yeah, like
seemed
you
like.
said, I only met a couple from up north, and none from Stockton that I
Yeah.
could think of. But Sacramento, there's a little skinhead group out there. I know
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, I met some Sacramaniacs
Yeah,
and they they're woods obviously, but they like they would talk about being on the streets and having good relationships with northerners in the streets and sometimes having kids and
yeah,
relatives
for
that
sure.
that are northerners and so they were like, man, it's a little odd in here because you got to go with the politics, right?
Yep.
But they weren't real crazy on that stuff, like obviously, Nazi lowriders and some other groups were a lot more passionate about their dislike of the North. But so what helped you in terms of coming home? Like you said, where you kind of were like, man, maybe this maybe this isn't the route I want to keep going. Was there anything in particular that helped you be successful in not going back?
Fucking, I had my kid, bro. I got
Mhm.
out and then ended up having my kid like
Okay.
shortly within that first year. So pretty quick after I got out,
Yeah.
my son's mom got pregnant, and then that's when I was like, all right, it's a wrap.
Yeah. Yeah. You
I
didn't have
couldn't
any
do it
kids
now, bro. I
before, huh?
could not fucking do it now. There's no way. I got my kids. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I could. There's no way in hell I could do time now.
Yeah. No,
I couldn't imagine it.
yeah, as a
But
father, I hear you. I didn't have kids
that's
before I
honestly
went.
my son saved my life for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah, like you, I didn't have kids before I went to prison. And obviously I was around a lot of people that had kids while they, people in prison that were
Yeah,
fathers. Um, and now, you hear and you try to kind of empathize, like, oh man, that's fucked up, but then you come home and you have kids. And
yep,
I could not imagine, but like you were saying, I couldn't imagine there's nothing that's worth sacrificing my time with them. You know what I mean? Like everything else all of a sudden becomes real petty in comparison to them, you know?
yep.
Um, and so yeah, I hear you on that one. So what made you want to start a YouTube channel?
Man, I've been watching fucking all you guys on here for a while now, good couple years. I'm on the road like a lot. I'm an electrician, but I do service work, so I'm everywhere, bro. From
Mm,
Stockton to the Bay, Fresno, all the way up north. So I'm on the road a lot, YouTubing it. And I don't know, man. It's weird, like I was saying, like convicts are into that shit because they have lived it, because they can relate to it. And there's a lot of people that haven't been to prison that want
mhm,
to are infatuated by this shit.
right.
But honestly, I think it made me feel good about where I'm at in my life, bro.
Hmm.
Hearing all these old stories, like that I never want to fucking go
Yeah.
back to. Because even before, I remember before this YouTube shit, like everybody was on it. I would watch a lot of like the on National Geographics and
Hmm.
on prison and shit, and then just to remind me fucking that I never want to go back to that shit.
Right.
So like, man, and me and one of my homies would always joke about it, man, I'm gonna make a YouTube. Like, we can do this shit, bro. Like, we got hella
Right.
stories, you know, like we chop it up and telling the same stories. Like, we can just
Right.
put it on YouTube. I was always hesitant, bro, because of people thinking like, or if I do go back, but I'm not fucking worried about it now. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm deemed no good, but I don't bring up politics. But either way, they're probably gonna try to say I'm all bad, but I don't give a shit. I ain't going back. It's been 10 years.
Right.
And with the way politics are now, it's all fucking crazy anyways. It's like, fuck. But nah, that's pretty much it, bro. Just bored, you know? And I was like,
Right.
fuck, I got some stories. I feel like I click with everybody, bro. Everybody, you know, I'm a likable guy. I feel like I could do all right on this shit. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. My wife even thought I was joking for the longest. Like, I'm gonna fucking do it. Well, I was like preparing myself, like
Right.
practicing videos and shit. And I was like, when I feel like I'm ready, I was like, I'm
Right.
gonna do it. She thought I was
Yeah.
joking, and I did it. She's like, oh shit. Like, you know?
Right.
And then it's been like about a month, bro. And my goal, I wanted to get to it. That when I first started, it started slow. You know, it's hard to get get your name out there and some subscribers. Started slow, and then a couple of my videos picked up, and I was like, damn, I'm gonna get there. Hopefully by June 1st, I was like, I could hit 1,000. So today I hit 1,000. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think my hours are almost there. So hopefully by the end of this weekend, I should be able to apply to be monetized. I got maybe I'll hit you up later, a couple people, because I'm not really familiar with that shit, you know?
Yeah, no, let's yeah, I'm you know, I'm not a expert at this all, but I've learned some things, and I've been on YouTube for close to a year, not quite, but it'll be a year sometime in the next couple months. I'd have to check. And I've been hit and miss since I started, you know, and I went through periods where I dropped like 5 videos, 6 videos in a month, you know, and then other times I drop every day. So, but I've picked up some things here and there. I've picked up a lot, man. The thing that's cool about this community, if you want to call it that, and it varies, not everybody's the same, but in my experience, a lot of content creators, they'll chop it up with you, bro, offline, and you know, there's not a lot of hating, like, oh, I found this new app, or I found this way to do this, but I'm not gonna tell everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some people like that. In fact, I know that there are some people like that, but most of the folks I've dealt with aren't, and I'm the same way. So you know, me, I'm gonna take a bunch of interview time, but we could chop it up offline and stuff.
Sure.
I've been interested in your channel since I heard about it, just because, and I've said this before. I think you got an interesting lane, right? In
Because there's
terms
not a
of
lot of white boys from up north on YouTube. That's why I was like, man, I think I could get my ass, because I know there's like Splinter, but he's not from up north. You know what I mean? He's pretty much Bakersfield's like right there. There's no, I know there's a lot of northerners obviously, but not no white boys from up here. And like I said, I've left active. I can still would consider myself active. I'm not, you know, like, but none of that shit even really matters to me. But from an active side, all mainline side, you know, like a little different aspect of the YouTube shit.
No, yeah, it is. It is. And I can relate to you on that point of you know, I paroled in good standing and all that other good stuff, right? If I was to go back, is there going to be some problems because I'm on YouTube? Sure. Is there going to be some problems because of some of the people I'm comfortable associating with on YouTube? Sure, right? But like you, I've been home a long time, so I don't live my life based on what might happen to me if I go back to prison, right?
Exactly. And I'm not no fucking. I was never like super deep in nothing crazy. You know, I'm just a white boy from Stockton, bro. Like,
yeah, but like you said too, man, the politics in there is so odd right now. Like, who knows? And so I'm like, man, I'm just a civilian dude. I got some experience. I've been around a little bit. I've learned a couple things, and but I'm not on here to promote anybody or any groups or anything else, man. I just do my thing, and so I I can relate to that, and yeah, I think you do have a interesting lane, because you're right. I'm not aware of anybody that rolled wood in prison from Northern California up here, you know, that's on YouTube, and especially being from Stockton, right? And so being from a diverse place, like you said, and
In a
not
real
growing,
fucking in a war zone.
yeah, and not growing up with this ingrained like racist ideology, right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah.
just you know, a homeboy from Stockton, basically, right? And so I think you'd have an interesting perspective on things. So I'm glad you're here.
Oh, yeah.
I always ask everybody, or I try to ask anybody I interview, what are the three things, and it could be more or less, but roughly, what are the three things that you're most proud of in life?
For sure, my kids, man. I got fucking 4 good ass, well behaved kids.
Yeah.
My house, purchasing my first house about like almost 2 years ago, and just making it. I feel like I'm a success.
Yeah.
Like from where I've been, the shit I've been through. Like I see people like, oh, I'm a felon, I can't get a job. Like that's bullshit. I got 2 felonies, violent felonies, and I'm an electrician making good ass money. So if I could make it up out of there, like, you know, like that, there's no excuses.
Right.
But yeah, my family, bro, for sure. My family, like, of course, like all my family, but my family at my home, like mine.
Yeah.
For sure. That's my pride and joy, my family.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate. I can relate. And you are a success, man. You beat the odds and the stereotypes. You know what I mean? And all of us have, in the sense of, you know, we went and we did our thing and we came home and we stayed home, right? And not on a fluke, you know, like,
and no one, anybody that knows me, they didn't expect me to be where I'm at. I know that they might not say that, but I know for sure they didn't expect me to fucking be where I'm at today.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Sure. And that's one of the ways that you inspire other people, right? Is hey, if you let others tell it, I'm not supposed to be here, but I am. Yeah. And so there's a lot of other folks out there that aren't expected to be anywhere, right? And so it's important to just, you know, sometimes our existence is the encouragement. You know what I mean? Just the fact that somebody is there. You know what I mean? So anyways, yeah, I encourage folks, go check out Yard Recall with Buzz. Subscribe, hit the little bell. You guys know how to do it, man. And stay tuned. And I look forward to what you have to come, man. And real quick, I know the answer to this, but just in case anybody is wondering, the name Buzz. And I know it's not a big fascinating story, unfortunately, but how'd you get the name Buzz?
I can't. A bunch of people have been asking me that, bro. Right. I can't tell you. I have no idea. I've been Buzz since I was like, that's my name, not just like a nickname. Like literally, that's my grandma, my mom, everybody that knows me calls me Buzz. And I asked my mom and dad, and they're like,
it just happened.
Somebody said it one day, and it just fucking, since I could, like a 3 or 4 years old, I've been Buzz. Right. So fair enough. I can't tell you, bro. I promise you.
Fair enough. No, people are waiting for a dramatic story, right?
Yeah.
When I was 10 years old, I had a buzz saw and I chopped up everybody in the neighborhood. No,
and I was before Buzz Lightyear. I'm 35 years old. So when I was 3 or 4 years old, Buzz Lightyear wasn't even a thing yet. That's like, you got your name for Buzz Lightyear. I was like, fuck no, I'm before Buzz Lightyear.
Right. I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
He got his name from me.
Right. Right. Well, look, man, I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time. I know this has been an effort on both of our ends to try to make this happen, man. But yeah, we'll catch up soon, and we'll go from there, man. This is the Homie Hangout. We help others move in excellence. That's what homies do. Help yourself at the same time. You're worth it. Check out the other content. I got interviews with lots of other people, and go subscribe to Yard Recall with Buzz, man. He's a good dude, and he's pushing a good message. So take care.